Hello and welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 206. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Messiah.
Hello.
Isley's out camping because it is Memorial Day weekend here in the States, but that's fine. So he won't be able to talk about the end of Clair Obscur.
He's not here to argue with me.
That's right. So it'll be just us talking about it. Uh, but there was like a lot of small stuff that was announced this week, but I didn't really tag a lot of it. Like there's a big old like Warhammer thing, and they're like, oh, talking about games coming out, DLCs. I was like, that's cool, but I'm not like playing all those yet, so I didn't really save them. There's a bunch of other miscellaneous small stuff, Sony backing some small studios for some things, but there's nothing really like to tag. I did see that Hellblade 2 will be coming to PS5 and PS5 Pro, getting the definitive edition. But I'm curious why they call it, or sorry, an enhanced edition. Like it's like, was it not enhanced on the Xbox platform it was already on? Like what? How? I mean, I understand like you have like DualSense support and probably some audio stuff because I don't think Xbox has the same kind of audio thing that Sony was doing. So maybe that, but yeah, it was interesting they called it the enhanced edition.
I feel like
I'm
at this
trying.
point, enhanced edition just means this is what we came up with in our marketing department to get it
Yeah,
to get more people to buy it if they already have it, maybe.
maybe. But yeah, we don't have a release date for it. They just got announced. It'll probably be later this year, I'd imagine. So people looking to play Senua Saga Hellblade 2, go ahead and give that a shot down the line. Then apparently Lies of P. So the DLC for Lies of P is coming out, and one of the things that the director did was they added a difficulty setting for the game. Like there's no difficulty setting for the base game, but they're adding one, and I'm trying to see if it's strictly for the DLC and not like going back. But yeah, it says here, I think it's just the DLC. So the director said, quote, we wanted to make sure a wider audience of players could play the game. We have a lot of feedback from customers and from our developers. So by making development adjustments and introducing these difficulty options, we can offer the experience to different types of players. This broadens the base. And so it's like, I guess you could do that for the DLC, but I'm like, they're still gonna have to, unless you add it to the base game. It seems like a weird step. At least the DLC is a prequel, so I suppose people want to go back and they already own the base game. They can go and play the DLC, and then be like, okay, I'll give the main game a shot. Considering it's not like it'll spoil a lot for the story of the main game or what you do. But it's just interesting to do it for the DLC bits, and I'm curious, like, what will the difficulty do? Because we were talking about this with Clair Obscur and wondering if the difference between normal and hard was like the timing window of the parry. Because sometimes that's typically I've seen other games do that have a parry or a dodge mechanic where the difficulty changes also the window in which you can do those defensive actions versus needing to be like absolutely precise on the harder difficulties. So I'm wondering if maybe it'll be something like that where it's like, okay, you can parry, like you just hold down parry or block and you still just deflect a lot of the damage, but you still take some. So okay, we can make the perfect parry window not as tight as it is by changing the difficulties. But I'm wondering how much it will, like, when did they decide to do that? Will it imbalance, like, was it part of the development cycle to begin with, or did they go back in later and go, you know what, let's tweak some of this health to depending on what difficulty the players are playing at. Like I'm curious how that'll play out.
It has to be like if there's a way for them to scale like damage or yeah, scale the timing window or something. I feel like scaling the timing window is a lot more difficult than just scaling enemy health and player damage. Like I feel like that's also kind of a cop out because well, I guess if you can still block and not really have to worry about parrying, you can still get through things and not really have an issue with it, but I don't know. It feels weird too that they would do it for the DLC and not ever add it to the base game at some point so that people could play the base game.
Yeah.
It's just
I
weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, because I'm going through like there's a lot of like they list a lot of debate from commenters, like players who played the game, and I'm not seeing any other like like any mention of will they do it to the rest of the game and not just the DLC.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't see it here. Uh, yeah, it looks like it's just the DLC, which like it's fine. It's like whatever, and then people are like, oh well, it's like if they do the thing that most games do, where it's like when you beat the game on a difficulty, you get the trophy for that difficulty. Just have that be standard. That way, quote unquote hardcore insane purists are like, oh yeah, but did they beat it on the regular mode or did they beat it on baby mode? It's like if you It's like, that's nonsense. But also it's like, it'll just be in the trophies. It's like, have more people play your game. Like, there's people who are bad at parrying, like, which is so funny hearing people who listen to podcasts for folks who are, like, historically terrible at parrying in video games playing Clair Obscur. And,
Mhm.
and then it like, "Alright, well, at least you got the dodge option." But it's,
Me, empowered
yeah,
dodge, my best friend.
that's right. And you can jump sometimes. But, I wish man, it's a shame we can't utilize jump more, like, outside of
Mhm.
the one counter, like, because there's a lot of times, like, okay, if it's a swipe attack, like, let me jump over the blade or something, like Elden Ring. But yeah, interesting just that they're doing it for the DLC, especially because like, we've talked about it before, like the amount of players that play DLC is extremely low compared to the people who play a base game. Like even your most hardcore don't play it like you don't have that much of a play rate. So it's I guess that's a way to try to get more people to try it. But again, if you don't retroactively do it for the main game, I'm curious, like, I don't know, because they have, like, the practice puppets at the hotel, so you can at least practice your parry and, your parry times and all that, but, yeah, I don't know. If you don't retroactively do it, then how are they gonna have fun in the base game if they don't have a difficulty slider?
Yeah, and
Who
if
knows?
somebody is like, "Oh, there's gonna be a difficulty slider in this DLC, everybody says it's a really good game, I'm gonna pick it up early and, like, play the base game," then they're gonna be put off, like, "Where's the difficulty slider? You told me this is gonna be made for me." Like
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. I mean, it's like, whatever. Also, I mean, it's not gonna affect me. It's like, just don't
Mhm.
if you're that hardcore, just don't play the lower settings, it doesn't matter. But,
You know
um
that people don't think like that because there's a difficulty setting in an easy mode, it's not a good game anymore.
but again, it's like just tie the trophies, and they can have their little happiness, like, "Oh, I got the trophy." It's like, "There you go. You're good." Um, that's why, like, when they patched out the like, there's I forget what game it was. There was a game where, like, there was something that was really hard, and they patched it, but they had like, you got an achievement or a trophy to at least show that you did it pre-patch, because like, it was just, like, pretty insane, whatever it was. And I wish they had done something like that for God of War Ascension, because God of War Ascension had the Trial of Archimedes, which was insanely difficult at the time. Playing it now, probably like in the original state, probably wouldn't be as hard, but like it was that shit drove me crazy. And I beat it, and then like a week later they patched it because the it was too tough, and everybody was complaining. And I was like, oh man, I wish I had a like the I mean the timestamp on the trophy is my sign that I did this before the patch,
Yeah.
um, as proof. But it was just like I was like, oh man, it's just a shame they don't have like some little option trophy. But that was like back in the day. You can't really do that kind of stuff anymore because there are points values to them and yada yada. But anyway,
Saw a
um,
lot of that with, the Elden Ring DLC. It's like, "Oh, you got the trophy, but what's your timestamp on the trophy? Did you do it pre-nerf or post-nerf?" It's like,
post yeah,
post-nerf doesn't mean anything, it just made it darker.
yeah.
It made it be able to see things.
I wish I could. There are some like when I hear about like the final fight and the DLC like being tweaked a bit. I'm like, man, I wish I could. I do kind of wish I could go back and play that version. Like, I want to see like because there are people that have done it, and I like the challenge, and I'm like, oh, I want to know if I could have done it. But I guess I could. Yeah, maybe. I
It
mean,
wasn't like it wasn't a difficulty thing, it was the fact that a lot of the attacks were so fucking bright, you literally couldn't see what was happening. It's
okay.
like all they did I don't know if they actually tweaked, like, the aggression or, like, the damage or anything like that, but a lot of it was, like a lot of the complaints were like, "We can't see shit. There's too much. It's too much and too bright."
Yeah,
So, I
I can
think that
see that.
was
There's a lot
a
of
lot
bright
of the
attacks.
tweak that they did was they just made the attacks slightly darker.
Yeah. And then one of the last bits of news I saw was that apparently a live action Elden Ring movie's in the works from
Mhm.
A24, and Alex Garland's going to be doing it. Apparently George R. R. Martin is going to be producing as well. But I'm like, I guess like if you can do it like because when I think about fantasy, I'm like, okay, like I think about with like God of War. That's supposed to be I don't even know if that's still happening, but the God of War show or whatever they're doing. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, if you're a fantasy, then you have to have like you gotta do it like Lord of the Rings style, right? Like go to New Zealand, go somewhere like film on location. Don't just do it in the volume. Like you gotta film like wild environments that you can then CG with plants or something, do the Mad Max thing and just put some background CG aspects to it to make it look a more fantastical. But it's the same thing with Elden Ring. I'm like, you gotta go. Lord of the Rings style, but I'm like, what's this? Like, yeah, there's a story, but I'm like, is that going to be fun for anybody who didn't play the game? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to have a good time? Like, it's the challenge. What are they gonna, unless it's like an interactive, it's like Bandersnatch on Netflix, except, you have to press the button at the right time to execute the attack. So it's like the little prompt's gonna pop on the screen, like, "Parry, dodge," this, you gotta interact. Like, I don't know how you make it into a I don't know, man. I guess, like, if it's all vibes, I suppose, like Civil War, which Alex Garland did, like, it's, just being in a place, not necessarily which is very Elden Ring, because like, you're not explaining necessarily how the Civil War started, you just know here's the 2 sides, yada, yada, and then you're just documenting the war, and, which is very, very Souls-like in that thing, like, you don't get a whole lot of answers. And so I guess that's the way he did that. I guess you could do that with like an Elden Ring, like you're just kind of going around following something. Like, but I guess they have to be the Tarnished though, or do you follow like a couple 100 years before the Fracture? I don't know, like what you do there, but that's got to be like. I mean, it's A24, and A24's hit rate's pretty high. So, has A24 done any video game adaptations?
I have never even heard of A24 before this came out, so I'm not, as discussed previously, I'm not really a movie person.
Oh man, you haven't A24, they do a lot of they got a lot of good things that they do. They did like The Materialists, oh, what's that name of that one? God, what's that one? They did The Brutalist. What's that one?
A lot
Oh
of
man.
ists, it seems like.
No, there was that one movie I'm trying to remember. God, I can't remember what it was called. Shoot, I'm blanking on it. Whatever. But they do a lot of like everything everywhere all at once was an A24.
Oh,
They've
okay.
done I'm trying to go through their list, but The Green Knight, they did, uh, Uncut Gems, Lighthouse, Midsummer, what's the one? I thought they did I guess they didn't, huh? I thought they did, I mean, The Babadook was an Australian film, so they wouldn't have done it, but, yeah, I thought they did something else, like another scary they do a lot of, like, spooky stuff. They did Moonlight, Swiss Army Man, The Lobster, Green Room,
I've heard
but
of like
anyways,
4 of those.
yeah, I'm trying to oh, Ex Machina, I guess, was one, but I mean, I don't like that movie, so it doesn't
I
count.
wonder then because it seems like they do a lot of like, I don't want to say like niche or weird, but very like conceptual, I guess, type of
Yeah,
movies, it seems like.
they're
And
doing a
they're
lot of stuff that
very,
other studios wouldn't.
yeah, and it's very like, very story driven. And I feel like Elden Ring, a lot of the draw is just the world building. Like there is history and there is a lot of world building, but a lot of it happens before the actual game. And I feel like the actual story of Elden Ring is like you don't do any side stuff, you just go. You want to become the new Elden Lord. It's very direct and not really like detailed, and you don't really need to interact with any of the world building in a way. But there's like the side stuff, like the Dung Eater and Ronnie's quest specifically. Like, I feel like if you're gonna make a movie about Elden Ring, it's gotta be Ronnie's quest, right? Like, you just ignore the rest of it, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna focus on this aspect of the game because it actually interacts with all of the history and the world building and everything.
Yeah, they did a lot of like horrors and like psychological thrillers, like Enemy, stuff like that. So I could see like yeah, doing man, they did a movie with Ryan Reynolds I've never heard of called The Captive. Came out in 2014. Apparently it didn't review well, but I've never heard of this film, and I know a lot of Ryan Reynolds movies. Yeah, I guess they could like it's. I mean, we'll see. Like they got to be like I don't know, man. It's just all wait and see, like, until we get more details. It's just there's so much there they could do. But yeah, it's just be a blind just blind story, just going around, "What was this wolf mask man? This giant sword?" But we'll see. I mean, again, yeah, because I looked through they don't do any other stuff, but it could be, good if it's got the budget, like, if they can put the budget behind it. That's the thing, 'cause I feel like A24 is kind of like, A24, I guess, would be like the not like an indie developer, but like that really good and granted, they're not a developer, they're in this case, they're a publisher. Um, but they're like the Clair Obscur, kind of like they do quality work. Even if they don't all hit, they're all quality for a lower budget. They're not doing like, Star Wars type budgets and stuff. But they're
Mhm.
doing a lot with very little in a lot of their things. So I'm like, but I feel like Elden Ring, like that's gonna cost a lot unless you do a lot of shoot on location, which is why you have the Lord of the Rings hit. But uh, yeah, that'd be interesting to see. But who knows? And yeah, the last bit of news I saw, well, actually, it's not game related, but I shared it in Discord, which are how so the 40K Warhammer 40K Games Workshop, like they did so well this year, and they did this last year as well. But they did so well that they're giving out like $27 million in bonuses to all their staff. So it's not like 27; it's like spread out between us. So it's like 18. How's it split down? It's essentially $18,000 in bonuses to every employee
Mhm.
equally, just across the 1,500 staff that they got because they did so well this year between licensing for games, for models they sold for 10th edition because 10th edition came out like a year ago and they're still doing it. They just released a new updated mission. It's like a game patch, an IRL game patch for Warhammer came out. And then yeah, they just did so well. Like, okay, here's your bonus. And they did it last year, but it wasn't nearly as high of the bonus revenue. But yeah, I'm like, dude, I got to work for a Games Workshop. Mm, But
It's also
that was
crazy that it's like this is news when it should just be the standard. I feel like this should
well,
just be what
yeah.
happens.
This was crazy. Like, and it's not again. It wasn't like it's even the first time. Like, uh, last year it was like this year it's 20 million pounds. Last year was 18 million pounds. So it's like it's not even that it's like the first time. It's just like people are reporting on it again. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, how much were they doing previously that no one ever commented on? But yeah, it's like that's good stuff. Good for you. Warhammer's doing really well right now. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, though it is kind of crazy that they release these update. The only thing that kind of bugs me about it is like, so I bought like typically when a new edition comes out, they'll release like a new codex, which is like a big old book, and you don't necessarily have to buy the codex, but if you're into it, you get it. So like I have a codex for the Tyranids because I'm like it's for the Space Marines. But if they make any changes, like any balance updates over the year, because they realize like, oh, maybe what we did for 10th edition is good, so they release a balance patch, essentially IRL, you don't like get a new book, but each book comes with a code to get the digital version of it on the Warhammer app. So it's like, okay, the new update. So like if they make it to where it's like, oh, this one unit is way overpowered, hypothetically, we're gonna make it, do one less hit or its dice rolls are a little different. Here's the new change. Now it's like, okay, you can see that on the app. So at least if you're playing, you know the new rules. And then they do the new mission packs that they just released. And you can still play all the old ones. You don't have to play any of the new ones. Or you can do your own custom missions. Like it's not needed, but these are like the official ones. Like if you're going to play in tournaments, typically everybody will use those mission packs as the basis. Like, okay, here's the new rules, and this is what we're using. So it's weird to play something where it's like, because in Magic you just get a new deck. It's like, okay, here's the new expansion. I've never, it's like Magic was like, you know what, Alpha Black Lotus pretty OP. We're gonna patch it. Here's Black Lotus 2.0 got new rules. Like there's none of that. It's like you just make a new card or you ban a card from tournament play or something. Uh, it's never like, yeah, that Planeswalker's a little strong. We're gonna replace it. Here's the new Planeswalker version of it. It's like that doesn't happen.
Mhm.
So it's weird to play. It's like or to be into something IRL that gets patched like a video game. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not playing a tournament, so it doesn't affect me, but I'm still putting together my army and painting it, so it doesn't matter. Um, but I was thinking about patching with like anytime they install like a roundabout to a place, I'm like, okay, roundabout, pretty easy to get. But like, do you remember when they suddenly came up with the left turn on yellow arrow? I'm like, they just released this traffic patch and everybody just got it. Like, that's insane. I was like, I'm like, because it's not like roundabouts are everywhere. They're in small places, and people in those towns get used to it. But like the flashing yellow arrow turn left is like everywhere, and I'm like, and people just got it. I'm
I
like,
mean, some
well, for the
people got it.
some people, sure, but I'm like, I just feel like it was crazy. It's not like DMV's like, yo, new patch update for driving, like went out. Pay attention. Like it's just like they just put the fucking patch notes on the pole, like turn left on flashing yellow, yield to traffic. It's like, and people just got it for the most part. But it's like it's crazy. Like this, I think about this with like food recalls. I'm like, you should be broadcasting this on the nationwide broadband, Amber Alert system. Like you should have that level of update whenever there's like a big recall for stuff. Like not just be
Mhm.
like you gotta inform the uninformed. Don't just be the people who are hypochondriacs or whatever who are like paying attention to everything under the sun from the FDA or what have you. But it's just like you need to inform people. And I'm like, I feel like with this, like it should have been, hey, yo, there's a new, you're not getting your licensing or your license renewed or whatever, so we don't have to inform you yet, but we're doing this change. Like, it's just crazy to me that we don't push that out more widely to everybody. Like, yo, hey, new rules. But anyway, I was just thinking about that with the flashing yellows when I was driving. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the news. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot. I did see a funny bit about people who are like slamming Witcher 4, being like, they're not. Now to clarify, the article calls them hardcore fans, but they're not hardcore fans because they're saying like, oh, you're gonna play a Siri, this is woke, yada yada. But then Doug Cock was like, yo, read the books, like you're an idiot, like,
Yeah.
which is really funny. But yeah, just
Incels
morons.
don't read? What do you mean?
This is true. They just watch YouTube shorts of Charlie Kirk. All right, let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, not a whole lot of new stuff. Kind of that silent. We're almost into June, so we'll have a lot of Summer Game Fest. I haven't even seen anything announced. Like Sony. I mean, I guess if Sony does anything, they're not going to announce it till like the week of. They do like a state of play or anything, and then Microsoft said they were going to do something. But has Keeley? I don't think Keeley said anything yet either. But
I've
I don't
seen a
know.
lot of people speculating, I guess, about what's gonna come. I've seen a lot of people watching old E3s because it's like E3 season. People are like, "Oh, remember E3? Let's watch this one from 2005." So I've seen a lot of that and people like speculating what's gonna be, who's gonna show what, and where it's gonna be and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't really use Twitter anymore, so I haven't seen any official like announcements or dates or anything like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's apparently this article lists it from 5 hours ago. So, but I don't think it was just dropped 5 hours ago, the news wise, because I think uh, see, Polygon has an article from a day ago. Scheduled June stuff, big events, yada yada. Summer Game Fest is on June 6th at 2 p.m. Friday, June 6th, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's okay. So that's when it is. And then they'll have their Summer Game Fest Day of the Devs, yada yada, all that stuff. I'm sure Microsoft will fit in there somewhere. So that's right around the corner. I mean, if that's June 6th, that's next week, Friday. It's not this Friday because we're recording on Sunday. Damn, that's right. That's 2 weeks away.
Hmm.
So we'll be, yeah. I think. I mean, it's on Friday, so we'll be recording fresh off it on that Sunday. That should be great. Oh yeah, and then the Xbox showcase is that Sunday at 10 a.m. So we'll be recording as that goes live. But yeah, hopefully you see some good stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the news. We can go ahead and jump. I'm sure you haven't. Have you been playing anything outside of I mean, I know you finished Clair Obscur, but did you play anything else?
I started playing Sea of Stars again because the DLC came out
Oh, that's right.
last Tuesday. This past Tuesday. Yeah, like 2 days after I finished Clair Obscur, actually. So perfect timing. But yeah, I'm playing that again. It took a very long time to remember how the game functions and what the fuck I was doing, and it took me 10 minutes to figure out how to get out of the in-game castle to get the DLC started. But once that happened again, I was like, oh right, I freaking love this game, and it's so very good. Pixel art is so good. So I've just been playing that basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that was on the some I saw some sort of like, "Hey, is this game worth it for this price?" And it's like, from
Fuck
everything I heard,
yes.
go ahead and get it. Oh. Yeah, I know there's like a big old Warhammer sale, so I did pick up a new Warhammer game on Steam for like $4. If it was what was it? Warhammer Inquisition Martyr, which is like a Diablo like. I think when it came out in 2018, like it was kind of like not well received. I was like, it was just like okay. But it's been, a couple years been updated and balanced, patched, and all that stuff. So I look forward, and for $5, it's like that'll have fun. I mean, I still have like Warhammer 40K Battle Sector, which I need to still play some more of, which is more like a tactics version of the game. Should be fun, and I need to go back and play Rogue Trader. I started Rogue Trader, and then I streamed like twice, and I got to go back and play some more. That one's really fun. It's more like a XCOM style, I suppose.
Hmm.
And I had some fun with that initially playing it. I just gotta go back to it. But yeah, I also finished Clair Obscur this week. I did a lot of the side content off stream, so I was able to do some of that. I didn't do every bit, so I didn't finish the Flying Manor, but I know who's there at the final boss. I did like two of the bosses there. I went and found Simon, but I didn't fight Simon. Uh, and then, well, I fought him for a bit, but like I wasn't ever like, I don't care about getting the sword. I don't need it. But then yeah, I was like eventually because I did some side content and got the cheater Picto. It's like, yeah, when I went to do the end game, like phase one of Renoir was like nothing. Like old man got beat immediately. I'm like, "All right."
Mhm.
And my cousin's like, "You gotta slow down so you can hear what he says during combat." And I'm like, because I'm sure he has, like, some barkers. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure he'll say it in the cutscene." Um, but the thing I was teasing last week was, like, I suspected that there would be multiple endings,
Mhm.
early on, and then when I suspected it, and then because I assumed, like, okay, it's gonna be destroy the painting or don't, or not even destroy, but, like, get out or don't leave, probably destroy it because Renwall wanna destroy it. Like, this would be the choices. And then I did see a Reddit post that was spoiler free, but it said why I think this was a good choice for, or why I think, an interesting thing about this ending. And I was like, okay, seeing that confirmed that there were multiple endings, even though I assumed there was. And then there's that one space you go to where, like, you walk in and there's just like a painting, like the zone. You have to get to it by flying on Esky, and there's a painting in the middle of the zone, and it's like collect it, and it's like a picture of the family. Was it Deidre family? What were the
Dissandra.
yeah, the Sonder family. Yeah, it's a picture of the family. I'm like, "Oh, okay, is this like," I thought, "Oh, is there like a collectible? Like, I collect the pictures and then Verso destroys them in game as a way to say, like, goodbye, and that's how we end up choosing to, like, is this how you trigger the ending?" And then, Izzy's like, "Nah." And I'm like, "Okay, well," it kinda when I saw it, like, I eventually jumped to conclusion, like, this is why, but, yeah, I figured it was coming, and then I gotta confirm that there was gonna be multiple choices. Um, and then, yeah, I beat it, uh man, I kinda do wish I can go back and experience what the fight would actually be like. I guess if I fought it with, like, Minoko and Sayel because I wasn't using them a lot at the end, uh, it would be a little more challenging, and then I could see it because it was, got interesting mechanically, but, yeah, I did choose my ending I chose was the, destroy, versus, like, nope, I sided with Verso, and then we destroyed the painting.
The correct choice.
Got out of there, and then, like, and Isley is very, it's like, okay, the 2 choices are, obviously heavy spoiler. I mean, I will put spoilers and tags in the description, but, like, the 2 choices are destroy the painting and get out. So, because Renoir is afraid that Mael will do exactly what her mother did and not be able to leave. Because in my head, I was like, "Can we do some kinda, like, middle ground? Like, just do, like, a divorce? Like, you fix up the world, you bring your friends back, and you come visit them on the weekends, and then you just can you do that?" And then, I thought, like, that's what I was thinking, going, like, "Why can't there be a middle ground?" And then he's like, "No, because you will succumb to it, like, you can't get out." And so it's like, and then when Verso finds, like, and that was the other thing too, I was wondering, I'm like, "Okay, so there's a shard of him that's still in there," which I assume is the little boy who's still painting. But I'm like,
Mhm.
it's interesting that his soul is still painting. Like, and there's so many questions I have about the mechanic of a painter, of, like, Renoir talks about how him and, Aline, like, painted thousands of worlds. I'm like, "Okay, so the painting that they're in when you go back to the real world as, Alicia, and you see the painting kinda wobbly, like Mario just jumped through it." I'm like, "Okay, is it wobbly if it's active?" And then let's say Verso didn't die and Verso was done painting Lumiere. He's like, "Okay, I'm out." If he leaves it in full, does it still exist as it is and the picture's just a picture and his soul's not, like, how does he jack out of the matrix? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I don't like, that's what I'm curious about the mechanic of it. Like, how did he Horcrux himself in there? Because then when he died outside, he's like, "Oh, well, piece me still in there." It's 'cause you have to, like, fully log off the painting? Like, I need to know more mechanically. Uh
Yeah, Isley and I were talking about this, like, because we've been arguing all week about,
mhm,
whether Versus sucks or not, and, I feel like we obviously don't know more about the painters and the writers and the outside world and stuff like that, and I feel like that's left intentionally
sure.
vague, at least in this game, because I feel like knowing how the paintings work and everything like that would weigh too much to one side or another, and it takes away that, like, existential moral dilemma that you're supposed to have of, like, you can see the good and the bad in both, like, endings and stuff like that, so it's like, it takes away that you made the choice, but you don't feel good about any of them because it's like, I like this ending, but it sucks, and I like this other ending, but it sucks. So it's like,
But
knowing how that works would take that away, I think.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, because a lot of people like bemoaning, Neil Druckmann was, talking to Colin on, Last Stand Media about, just a bunch of different stuff, and he was saying, like, for the original Last of Us, like, as a studio, their intent was that a cure could be made. Now, they don't say that in the game, they just say they want to try to make a cure. They never confirm it in TLU 1.
Mhm.
But they say their intent, which is fine. You can have that intent and not put it in the game, and that doesn't like diminish people's. It's like if the author didn't put it in the game, then it's still ambiguous, even if their intent was otherwise. And but in the show, spoilers for the show, like they kind of just say like, okay, they could have. Now that's fine. Like you could still interpret it as Joel doesn't know for certain that they could have done it, but in his mind, they could have, and it was either that, but she dies, or I save her. So it's like it doesn't matter if they could or not. Like it's you still like it comes down to you can still have that dilemma of I'm even if they could, I was always the thing of she wasn't awake to make the decision herself into the one, and
Mhm.
that always bugged me. I'm like, I feel like if she was awake and could make a decision, no, but and he took it from like she couldn't make it, so it's like he made a decision. It's like okay, you deal with it. But anyways, with this, yeah, it's like there are so many questions like if he didn't die, is it, like, only a part because he was active and he was still working on it? Or it's like, and then I'm, like, wondering, like, how alive is that piece of his soul that's in there? And but even the soul, like, says, like, do you wanna leave?" And, like, he nods, like, "Yeah, I'm done painting." Like,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, it's sentient enough. It's like when Atreus, you know, lets Fenrir go, and the piece of the soul goes in the knife, and he stabs the knife into the big wolf, and he's like, "Okay, it's Fenrir." Or look at Brock, right? Like, it's Brock, even if he's not all parts of his soul, like, it's clearly Verso, in there, and, like, you gotta let him go, man. Like, I'm sorry. It's like, it's not his fault, it's the like, he blames, like, "Oh, Verso shouldn't have." That's why I have so many questions, like, if they're done painting, does the world just live on in perpetuity without them in it, and they can just visit anytime if they want? That's why I'm curious, like or is it like you paint the world, you have fun, you go on vacation, you're like, "Alright, we're done." We leave, and then it's just time stop, frozen, like, how does it work? I have so many questions.
I feel
Uh,
like the impression that I got from it was that you create the world, there may be a part of your like soul that's attached to it or something like that, but it's not actively painting. It's not actively doing anything in the world. It's just kind of there, maybe just like observing or just a part of it or whatever. But the fact that Eileen came in the painting and started changing it, maybe and then she made this the way that Verso phrases it is that she put this like alternate dimension within the painting so that Verso could choose at some point because he says that like, this is a gift from my mother or whatever. So it's like he's kind of like sequestered away and painting because the world is actively changing. Whereas like if Aline hadn't gone in and messed with it, he wouldn't be required to keep it going in a sense of like changing and progressing and people in Lumiere who have been created are like having children and their lives are progressing and everything like that. Whereas like the version of the painting that Verso initially made, I feel like didn't include Lumiere. Because the people of Lumiere have no idea about what's outside their city. They don't know that the Gestrels exist. They don't know that Eskia exists, like anything like that. So it makes it seem like his soul, like the faceless boy, he's when Aline first comes in and is like creating the world and stuff, he's fine with it. He like wants to help her. He doesn't mind painting. Like it's fine as long as everybody's happy. But then Renoir comes in, and then Clea, whatever the fuck she does, they're just like constantly fighting. And Aline is obviously disintegrating basically, and he sees that it's causing his family to fight and it kind of wears him down, and he's just like, I don't want my family to fight anymore. I'm done with this. If this is causing them to fight, then I don't want to do it anymore. And it just wears him down to the point where he just doesn't want to exist anymore basically.
yeah, and I'm wondering, like, yeah, if it was just like if all the rest of the world outside of Lumiere was made by Verso, like 'cause the way I interpret is like, okay, he made this when he was younger. That's why it's a younger version of his soul in there. And then like him and his mom, they would, paint it, whatever they go on and do this fantastic, do the gestures, all this kid stuff. But then when he dies, maybe his mom was in there, and because she makes that version of Verso and gives him the memories of Verso somehow. I don't know how do you give the memories of someone? I guess if it's in the soul has the memories, even though it's like it looks like a kid. Whatever. It's updated. It's always patching because it's part of Verso, so it's getting his memories. It's his digital painting copy. It just looks like a child, and like makes him, and that's why Renoir's like, it's unfortunate that she gave you the outside world Verso's memories. but then did she create Lumiere? Like, okay, if I'm gonna make him in here, he has to live somewhere that's not part of this fantasy world. Yeah, I gotta make like a real version. Okay, let's make a copy of Paris, call it Lumiere, and then just have it here. And then it's like to keep him alive in there. And then eventually so then all the people show up in Lumiere, like the life happens, whatever, yada yada. Then eventually the fracture from Renoir trying to get her out. Because she makes all the Nevrons to be like, I need you to collect chroma, uh, essentially, and give it to me so I can keep getting that power back, to try to hold off Renoir's destruction of this world. But I do like that. I did we talk about it last week? I forget. Yeah, we talked about it last week about how the nice. Yeah, we talked about it already. Yeah, because it was a revelation from before the ending where it's like she's not destroying the world; she's trying to postpone its demise. The
Hmm.
paintress, but
She's painting a warning, not a
yeah, yeah.
countdown to destruction or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, and I went back and I watched the other ending because I was curious, like, okay, well, how? Because like, yeah, it sucks that Lumiere gets destroyed, and then man, Lune looks so mad when she's just sits there and looks at him.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like, I'm sorry, you gotta go. Like it's like this world has to go. But it's the writer's fault. I'm sorry. And then but then when I watched the other one, the Mael one, I'm like, okay, there's Gustav, he's back. Okay, there's this little kid. I'm assuming that little kid's supposed to be Verso, like restored, but as a kid. But then there's Verso playing the piano, and like the poor guy feels like he's trapped and he can't break away because he's like it seems like he's trying to fight playing the piano. And then just
Hmm.
when he sees Mael with the we'll call it the painter bag eyes, where like she's been in here too long, and I'm like, she's lost. It's like it's just
It's
like
so fucked up.
it's so dark, and it's just like he knows I'm trapped here
And
forever.
I don't remember if I don't think I said this in the group chat, but I think I said it to Isley. I wonder if Mael's ending, if Lune and CL would be any different if they had seen Verso like begging to not exist.
Oh man, when he begs,
Because like
I don't want this.
yeah, and Miles just
Ben
like
Starr, dude.
I I'm a Ben Star simp. Let's just get that over with.
But
But
I was like, yeah, that was hurting hearing him say it because
I
he's
know.
such a nice guy, and then I hear his voice just pleading, and I'm like, oh my god.
So it's like because the way that it pans out, Miles the only one that heard Verso
Hmm.
in his like last moments before he gomages and she resets the world and everything like that. So it's like if Lune and Ciel had seen that and like truly understood what was like going on and at stake and everything like that, would the ending have been a little bit different? Like, would they have not been so content with having their lives back together and everything like that if they knew the price of it and they knew what Verso was going through? And also, it's very like Mael, I guess like not just Mael, but Alicia too. Is just like, I don't care. Like, I'm only focused on me and what I want, and I don't really care if your soul is tortured for eternity for it. And so that makes it extra dark. Like, oh, fuck me. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and it seems so much like he's just mute as well, and like he's stuck and he's mute, and she took away all his like brought him back, but limited and just kept him like a misery situation. Like,
Hmm.
no, you're only gonna come out and play piano. You can't speak to anyone. You can't divert from your NPC path I set for you. And he's trying so hard to fight it, but he can't. In that cutscene is what I took away from that. And then even Sael, like in his ending, like she almost seems like understanding, but I don't know if that's because does like I thought there for a second, like, okay, am I only seeing this because I got to rank 7 or max rank with her and like we talked to each other, or does she like kind of understand where he's coming from? But Lune is just very, very mad about it.
The yeah, CL is very like, I'm upset about what's happening, and she's
But I
very
get it.
upset that she's not gonna get her husband back, and not only that, but the whole world is disappearing, but she's
Uh,
like, I get it, and it sucks that you had to make this decision. That's kind of the
yeah.
vibe that she gets from it.
Hmm. But yeah, it's like yeah, poor Lune. She's just like sitting
She's
there
just
so
mad,
mad.
like, I get
Hmm.
it, but
Yeah. But yeah, the Mayal anyway, it's so much worse. And
it's so dark.
yeah, it's like, and because she's like, and I'm like, okay, but you didn't even fix up Lumiere. Like, it's still messed up. Like,
Yeah.
paint it better,
Like,
please.
put everything back the way everybody is aware that everybody came back to life. Like, just put it back the way it was.
Yeah, fix the streets, please, so we can get around properly. You know how hard it is to get to that opera house? Like, or that where they are, like, you have to take a lot of those grappling hooks to get there. Like, you need to do something about this. But yeah, it's a
It
dark
also
ending.
isn't in her ending, it's not very clear how much she puts back. Like, did she actually bring back everybody who was gommaged by Renoir, or did she only bring back the stuff that she cares about?
Yeah, it seems like she can only bring back yeah, like, she couldn't bring back everyone because you have to have that's too much chroma 'cause it's so interesting that they just collect the chroma in that cutscene, and it's not like you go out and do it as part of Act 3. Like,
Mm.
Act 3 is considered an epilogue, like, "Oh, we have a cutscene, I was collecting the chroma, okay, let's go fight Renoir," and versus you going out and collecting it yourself, which is fine because 'cause they'd be, like, double up the time of the game, I suppose. It's not like an upside down Dracula's Castle situation, and, yeah, I guess she can't bring back everybody, but yeah, because like, they can only do as so much as the chroma of the expeditions that went out, and which is nice because it's like, okay, the people that sacrificed themselves on the expeditions are also now the source of power to bring back other people. So it's like, I do like that parallel there, like, for those who come after, it's like, okay, their lives mattered further, at least for that ending, even if that ending's bad. It's like I kinda like that it's like, okay, it's the journey, like, even if they didn't succeed and get to the paintress, it turns out in the end, it's like it's still a worthwhile sacrifice in the Mel
Mhm.
ending. I do like in the Verso ending though, it's like everyone's there at the grave, but then Clay just like walks off, "Alright, I gotta go fight the writers." Like, and
Yeah,
he's like,
she's just like,
"I'm out."
yeah, she's like, "I've already grieved. I'm over this. Goodbye."
Mhm. Yeah, she is very funny in the way how cold she is. Just like she's like, "Y'all are wasting time. Like, move on.
I hate
We
her
got
so much.
we got some writers to go fight. Let's go." Uh, but
And
yeah, it's
it's just like, "Oh, she might be the only sane one in the whole family." I'm like, "No, Renoir is the only sane one in the whole family, I feel like. She's just a bitch.
yeah, he's like, "We got it."
Just
It
because
was
she's
great.
got shit going on doesn't mean she has to be so mean to Alicia, like."
Yeah, and I wonder, like, what is the time dilation for spending time in a painting? Like, in Inception, it's like, okay, every minute in the real world's an hour in the dream, and then depending on what like, how deep you go and yada, yada, and eventually they go, like, really far, and you can spend a
Yeah, see, that's
lifetime
what I
in
didn't
limbo.
understand too, because it's like Renoir's says that he spent 67 years trapped underneath the monolith, but that would mean he spent 67 years in the painting. So how do they age? Like,
Yeah,
do they
I
just not age that quickly, or is
I
Clea like they've been in
it
there for like 3 days?
It's like it's gotta be like a Miller's Planet situation, but, like, reverse, where, every minute IRL that you're, in stasis outside, in the painting is, like, multiple years. Because, yeah, because
Hmm.
even, Alicia goes in there at exposition or year 46 or whatever, and then spends 16 years in the world growing up as Mael, but not much time passes for her IRL once you go out with Versus ending. So it must be like a accelerated speed inside it's like a hyperbolic time chamber situation inside the painting, which would be dope because then, like, you can spend a lot which is why you go crazy, right? Because you spend so long in there, which is why the mother, her grief just ate away at her forever and ever, and then everybody becomes faceless, right? That's why
Hmm.
they all but, uh but yeah, it's a great game, and it but yeah, the ending, the my ending is just so dark and easily so wrong.
I get, but that's the thing is, that's why I like both of these endings because they both feel a little bit icky. It's like
Mhm,
you either side with Verso because he's right, he's the one that's being like tortured essentially
mhm.
by his own family, and he's the one that's actually technically lost to family at this point because he had the in painting family, and then they get to the paintress, and supposedly Clea reveals everything, and that's when he and Painted Renoir like split off because they have different views of what needs to happen, kind of
Yeah,
thing. So it's like technically, yes, he's lost two families. He has all these horrible memories. He's been technically alive in this painting for 100 years. He's had to watch people die. Like, Jesus Christ, what happened with Julie? Like, that fucked him up, I'm sure. And so it's like, yeah, they this poor traumatized angel saved him, basically. But at the same time, this whole world has it's sentient. Like, these people are alive, and you're just destroying it because of your outside family that you don't actually have any like tied to, other than you feel like Verso feels like he has some kind of obligation to them because they're destroying themselves on his behalf. So it's like both of them are kind of fucked up, but one's a little more fucked up than the other, I feel like.
Yeah.
I guess it
Yeah.
depends too how much you like Mael and Lune and CL and everybody versus how much you like Verso. So I think that's why Isley and I argue all the time.
Yeah. It's like so many questions outside of, in the real world, if they were answered, it would influence, decisions. But I
Mhm.
feel like when Painting Verso sees his mom, like the real mom, uh, real versus mom through the portal and how she's suffering, he's just like, that's like, okay. There's so many scenes at the end where like you see him in the background when Mael's arguing with Renoir. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, you see him realizing like, no, he's right. Like, and then especially when he sees the mom, it's like he's like, you gotta go grieve, man. You can't just
I
stay in
think
here.
I was see, I've talked about this so much with like Isley and Michael and stuff. I
Hmm.
don't remember who I was talking to, but it's like you notice a lot of the later cutscenes, Verso's always in the background, kind of like very uneasy and very like it seems kind of defeated in a way, but nobody ever turns to him and is like, "What do you think?" Especially the scene. Did you max out Mael's
Yeah,
relationship with the? Okay, so in that scene where she's like getting ready to gamage Alicia, it's just between her and Alicia, and you see Verso in the background, like, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing? And Mael
mhm,
like never turns to him and is like, you want to be involved in some way whatsoever? And then you go to the camp cutscene, and he's like, you didn't even let me say goodbye. And the thing that, oh my god, made me so mad, Miles like, well, that's what she wanted. But nobody ever turns to Verso and asks what he wants. Like he's just kind of there, and everybody he's basically got two sides that are pulling him in a direction for selfishness. He's just like there for everybody else's amusement, it seems like. And
yeah,
especially
and
yeah, that last cutscene where Miles talking to Renoir, he's just like, I know you're lying to him, and also look at this, like look at your mother. And then he goes to the
mhm.
painting, the portal, and he's just like, I'm sorry, like this it has to be done. This has to stop.
Yeah, it's like you're fine getting rid of the painted version of yourself, Mael, but like when you see the the real soul version of Verso just stuck and wants to leave, is done
Mhm.
painting. It's like you can't just be like, nah. It's like because you're like, no, it's all about you. You're a little too selfish. Like I get that your whole world, the world's going to be destroyed, but I'm like, it still comes down to what happens to it if Verso was alive and was done painting and had logged out properly. Like does the world exist forever? Does it just freeze, time freeze until they go back in? Like, which is essentially just dead. Like it's like in the Severance. If they never go back down the elevator, the innies don't know that they're done.
Mhm.
They just cease to exist. They have no, So it's like, yeah, I'm curious.
And I get Mael's reasoning because Alicia as Mael, she's not fucked up. Like
Mhm.
she's not missing an eyeball. She can
Yeah,
talk. Like
right.
she has a full life within the painting, whereas like outside the painting, she can't even talk for
Oh
herself.
yeah,
Which is weird because
yeah,
Clea can understand what she's saying to an extent. Like maybe Clea's just like pretending and it's like, I know what you're saying because I know you so well, but and then so of course Alicia wants to be in the painting and she just wants to live out her life and she doesn't care about what like her outside happens to her outside body and everything like that. But also you're you're literally torturing your brother for you to have this like special little life. So it's like you could live in here, go paint your own painting and like live in it and stuff like that. Why are you
yeah,
using versos?
yeah. It's like it's so like I just lost my train of thought there, but yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's
It's
so
a
many
good fucking
questions.
game.
Yeah, good stuff too. But I want to know. But it's like also like with Tlu 1, I'm like you don't need a sequel. I know they probably don't. It's like I don't know what the fuck you would even do with the sequel. Like if they don't, I'm sure it'd be great. Just like I didn't think they would be a Tlu 2 or there should be, but they made one. And I still love it. But yeah, I was like I don't know what you do after. It's like do you tell more? Do you? Because I feel like it's like how do you expand on the mystery of the real world, the writers, all that stuff? Like I don't know what you do.
I very much want them to make a prequel game where it's like maybe it starts off with the fire and like showing what happens outside and Aline's grief and why she goes into the in the painting and creates the world and everything like that. But I very much want like painted families story. Like what happens when the fracture happens and Verso and Renoir within the painting go with their expedition and they come back and then they go out with Julie and Simon and like
Mhm.
that whole all of the backstory within the painting and then not answer anything about the outside world and still make everybody feel very crummy about the decisions in the first one. I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a I'm really curious to, like, to go back and, like, if I gotta watch, like, just a cutscene compilation because I would like to see certain cutscenes and moments, like, rewatching I watched someone react to the end of Act 1, when Gustav dies, and
Mhm.
then, like, listening to the conversation between Renoir because he's very, like, cryptic, or that I forgot about that moment when he Doctor Strange's Mael, and she goes into, like, the transition space between entering the painting and being transformed into a part of it, where it's got, like, the solar like, blackish red solar eclipse, but you hear the voices of, "What is she doing here? Shouldn't be here." And hear them talking, but she has no idea what they're saying.
Mhm.
That whole cutscene's like, "Oh, okay, like, this makes so much more sense now with the context of Act 3." Like, it'd be interesting to go back and watch some of those bits, uh, especially when people are like, if versus being vague or even just hearing Renoir talk. Um,
I will say I've been watching somebody on YouTube kind of play through it. The cutscene, the previous cutscene that hit me the most was the one right after you fight Renoir in the monolith. Like the exchange between painted Renoir and the curator, real
mhm.
Renoir. That that hit me like a truck, knowing like the ending and everything like that. I was like, oh Jesus Christ, they really dropped like the most emotionally devastating like, if you knew the full context, this would make the decision at the end of the game so devastating. So,
Yeah.
like, you go back and you're like, "Oh my god.
Yeah, I
They
gotta go
really
back
just
and
put
watch.
this here with no context, and it's so heavy."
Yeah, I gotta go back and watch them. I don't know if I mentioned in the podcast or if it was on stream, but, like, there were so many bits because Verso's, game versus just like a copy. But he refers to, like, because he's referring to the real Verso a lot in conversation. But the way
Mhm.
he'll say it, he'll always say, like, "I'm not part of the family." But, like, the way, because he's just a copy. But the way he would say it sometimes, it would throw me off. I'd be like, "Wait, so is he saying, like, he's not part of the IRL family, and he's, like, a friend of the family, and they just kinda took him in as part of," like, it was throwing me off because of the way he kept saying it. And, I was like, even though he's just referring to that him because he's a copy, he's not real, yada, yada. Um, but it was like it was so confusing sometimes, and it was part of that was because I was, you're streaming as well, so it's like you can't give 1,000% of your attention to a cutscene. You're kind of, you know, reading chat, doing both. But, I was like, "Wait, what? Why so he's not part of the family, he's a friend of the family." And then later, it's like, yeah. Early on, it was a little confusing, but yeah,
That's a
great
lot
game.
of the stuff that influenced my decision to go with Verso because it's like he's like, "I'm" especially when SK is like, "Other Verso is Verso, but you're also Verso," and
Yeah,
it's like, "You had
same,
a
same, but
whole"
different.
Yeah. It's like you're technically this verso. Like you had a whole ass life and you developed your own memories and you like exist in this world. It's just a fucking shame that you were meant to be a copy of this other person and you had no idea. Now you do, and that sucks.
Yeah, no, but I love that bit when you're loving up, Eski's friendship and you give that rock to the other guy, and he's like, "That
Oh
doesn't look
yeah.
like me," and it's all angry. Yes.
And then you get to the end of the fight, he's like, "You can leave that here though." Fine.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Aw.
but
Aw.
yeah, it's, good stuff. Good game.
Good fucking game. I want to play it again."
Scaling's still bad. They should have, really done that differently, but we talked, enough about on last episode. Alright, well, I guess we can wrap it up there. I'm sure when Izzy gets back, next week, we'll be talking about his, thoughts on it, and we'll just talking more Clair Obscur. And we don't have enough time now, but, to talk about post-trauma, so we'll have to save that
Oh yeah.
for next week. I'm sure I'll probably beat it, so then I can talk about the whole game in full.
Mhm.
But and then we'll also get the finale of Last of Season 2 tonight.
Well,
Um,
not ready.
so yeah, so we will, be able to talk about the season as a whole. It's funny going to knowing that it's gonna be, incomplete, essentially,
Mhm.
but knowing the people I'm watching that don't know that, so it'll be interesting to see with Anna, 'cause I'm like, they only did day 1, and there's, like, 4 days you spend in Seattle. So I'm like, are they gonna do day 2 and that's how they end it? Like, I'm because 'cause they're like, "Oh, we don't think we can end it, like, we might not be able to complete this story in season 3." I'm like, "Well, if they were able to have done days if they skip out certain parts and just go from day 1 to day 2, and day 2 is like you get to the Ferris wheel, and then she comes back, and then it ends and goes into Abby's part. I'm like, I guess, but then you're cutting out a lot. I'm like, but there's a lot you can cut, I suppose, between days 1 and 4 because a lot of it's just filler for the game. But yeah, I'm curious how they're gonna end it. And I'm like, I feel like you could probably easily do it if they do actual 4 days. I thought it'd be like, day 1's an episode, day 2, day 3, day 4. And those are 4 episodes. If they do day 2 today, and then that's how it ends after day 2, I was like, I don't know where the fuck you're gonna end it there. And then season 3 is like, okay, day 3, day 4, confrontation at the theater. Then you go back and you do 4 days as Abby. That's 6 episodes. And then you end it on the 6th of the confrontation. Then you have 7 and 8 to do the epilogue essentially. Maybe you do 7 is at the farm, and then 8 is going to Santa Barbara. But I feel like you could probably do it, but it depends on how much they want to fill it because they're not sure. Like there might not be a 4th season. They say if they can't fit it all into season 3, there will be a 4th. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. I mean, it depends on how
If
much
you
you want
say
to do.
so.
Like I feel like I can see it, but how we would do it in 3, you got to do more than 7 episodes. Why not do like
Mhm.
a 9, 10 episode season? But anyways, yeah, I'll be really interested to see how they end it this season. Then we can talk about it in full next episode as well. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it there. Think about tuning this, and thank you, Zai, for joining.
Mhm.
And we will see you all next time.